If you are my mother-in-law, look away. Close, exit, do not watch. Spoiler alert. Don't watch this if you are my mother-in-law. This is your Christmas present. Leave. Is she gone? Okay, so my mother-in-law decided to enable me and asked for perfume for Christmas. So, of course, I got all excited about that, and I had so much fun picking a couple of perfumes that would be great for her, and also that would be great for me. So I got her the Goldfield and Banks Australia Discovery Sample Collection. In addition to picking 2 other fragrances that I think would be really great for her, I wanted to get her something just like fun, unique, and different. And I love sample sets because I love letting people, you know, try a little bit of everything. I'm that type of person. All the things. Try a little bit of everything. All the things. But I was particularly drawn to Goldfield and Banks because, number 1, they're vegan and cruelty-free. But number 2, they're based in Australia, so a lot of their botanicals and scents and, you know, main accords seem to be geared towards warmer weather. And my mother-in-law lives in Florida, so even when it's like, you know, cold, freezing winter for us, for her, it's still a pretty mild temperature. So I thought it would be really cool to get this for her. It seems to be designed for warmer weather and like different cool Australian botanicals, blah, blah, blah. So of course I got one for myself because duh. So here we are, we're going to experiment with the Goldfield and Banks sample collection, and maybe mother-in-law, you can come back and watch after you've received your Christmas gift and see what I thought about these fragrances. So right away you open the box, really cute. It's got this insert that describes all of the different perfumes that are in there. I know my lighting is not great right now, so things are a little bit like blurry and fuzzy and not so focused, but anyway. And then inside you've got these beautiful colors. I like that the actual perfume, the juice is colorful. I think that's pretty cool. I'm a sucker for colors. It gives you little papers, little scent strips. Now usually when I test perfume, I spray it directly on my skin because the way it smells on paper is not necessarily going to be how it smells on skin. And sometimes I feel like I can smell the paper the same way as when you get, like, you know, a catalog and you rip open that little page and you smell like the paper, and the paper has its own smell. So usually I don't like to use these. I like to test it on my own skin or on my own clothes because that's how I'm going to be wearing it. I'm not going to be wearing a piece of paper when I go out into the world with my perfume. And this paper does have a smell to it. But since they're here, I might as well just use the papers. So I will be going from left to right. And when you read the description on the inside, they seem to have a sunrise and sunset theme going. So I think they do have like a goal of you smelling one experience in the opening, the sunrise, and then smelling something different towards the end, the Drydown, the sunset. So maybe it is worth it to spray it on the piece of paper, lay it down, let it sit out, and then I'll come back after a couple of hours and see if anything has changed. So this is laid out in a particular order. It does not match the order of what is in the set. So I'm going to go based off of this, and the first one is Wood Infusion, woody and profound. A profound scent surrounded by an elixir of rich woods, buttery roots, and aromatic notes, inspired by the lush nature of the balmy heritage listed Fraser Island in the Pacific Ocean. Wood Infusion is a celebration of all wood species found around the island. The fragrance is an exotic infusion of Australian woods. Notes are mandarin, Australian woods, agarwood, and iris. The sunrise, the opening, is supposed to be sparkling, aromatic, and buttery, and the sunset, the end, that will smell later, after a couple of hours, is supposed to be oriental and noble, whatever that means. Ooh, I got citrus and I got woods. All of these are, I got the ethanol too, like wood alcohol. So like wood, but also alcohol. Let's give it a second. All of these are supposed to be unisex, but I'm sure some are going to lean more masculine or more feminine than others. This one leans masculine to me, and it's very like oody, like people would describe this as a barnyard ode, like almost pissy, like almost fecal. Some people love that, and I can appreciate it in small amounts, especially with like heady indolic florals like jasmine and narcissus. But when it's combined with a lot of wood and a lot of like amber, it gives me a really like pinchy feeling, like all the way up at the top of my nose and my sinuses. So, this is a from far away fragrance. I would not enjoy this up close on my own skin. I would not enjoy this up close on like my husband or somebody that I would be very close with. This is it gives me the pinchy sinus feeling. So this is better from far away. It is the description says that it should be buttery, and I can't tell if it's buttery or wet, like a damp, rotting wood, you know, that like pissy indolic smell. It's just a lot. It's very strong. So, good projection. You will smell this from far away. And as I said, like, I don't hate it. It's just really strong for me. I feel like this does need time to dry down. So we'll set that aside right next to the wood infusion bottle, and then we'll come back to it later. Okay, next one on the list. Bohemian Lime. I'm usually not a huge fan of citrus. Just because on me, it never smells good. Like, it just mixes with my sweat all wrong, and I kind of wind up smelling like a sour onion, you know, like it always smells a little rancid and sweaty on me. So citrus, for me, citrus needs to be balanced out with something else for me to like it, or it has to be a very photorealistic citrus with like a burst of sweetness to like counteract any sour, sweaty, skunky, you know, kind of vibes that I would get on my skin. Tropical and carefree. Set beneath a sunlit canopy of lush tropical rainforest, the scent evokes an image of native citrus trees, drawing life from nearby cascading fresh waterfalls. Bohemian Lime mellows to reveal blissful grounding notes of woody vetiver and sandalwood. Okay, so I can already tell that this is not the kind of citrus that I'm going to like if it's blended with vetiver, like a dirty peppery smell. Like, that will not mix well for me. Me personally. I'm sure this would be somebody else's jam. I'm sure this would smell amazing on somebody else, but on me, no. So maybe it's a good thing that I'm doing this one on paper. The Sunrise, tropical, punchy, citrusy, and the Sunset, which is the Drydown, woody, carefree, and lingering. The notes are Australian finger lime, vetiver, and cedarwood. That one came out like a little squirt instead of a spray, so I don't know if I got a good mist on it. Like, I don't know if it mixed with the air. From far away, I can already smell the citrus. It smells cleanery. It smells like a detergent or like a bathroom cleaner. It almost has like a minty smell to it. That could be like the pepper coming from the vetiver, maybe. Kind of spicy. Like I do smell the lime, but there's also some peppery spiciness in there, so it's kind of reminding me of like a spicy margarita. And it's very aromatic. It's somehow very like vegetal or like herbal. So this smells like a men's fragrance. This one is also leaning very masculine. It's like the lime is not, as much as I say I don't like a lot of citrus, I almost wish this one had more citrus. Like, I feel like it needs more sour to balance it out, because right now it's too dirty and vegetal and like peppery to me. Like, I almost need more sour to bring it out of that, like, peppery, fresh, spicy feeling. And I guess, like, cedarwood and sandalwood, I don't know, like, those are usually much drier woods. I don't associate those with being, like, pissy, indolic, like, oud woods, like I did with wood infusion, but I am getting that same pinchy feeling up here, even though they used a different combination of woods. It's giving me a little bit of that same, like, barnyard smell. So we'll set that aside. We'll come back to it later. Number 3, Sunset Hour. I'm actually excited for this one. I believe this one leans a little bit feminine. Sunset Hour. Juicy and delightful. As a blazing sun dips into the Indian Ocean, the scent of fragrant native fruit pervades the languorous evening breeze. Languorous or languorous, right? Yeah? A heavenly cocktail of juicy and spicy delights awaits, giving way to a deliciously gourmand and sensuous floral heart, best served at sunset hour. The notes are mandarin, desert peach, pear, ginger, Nigeria, pink pepper, benzoin, and vanilla. And the opening is supposed to be juicy, spicy, joyful, and the Drydown, the sunset, is meant to be gourmand, soft, woody, and sensuous. Okay. I'm always nervous to pop it back in the container, because, like, I might accidentally spray it. Alright, so. Yes, juicy and gourmand. Juicy and fluffy at the same time. It reminds me a little bit of Burberry Her, like pink. It smells pink and fluffy and juicy, but there's no like licorice or anise or ethyl maltol, no patchouli, so it's not like La Vie est Belle. Yeah, if I had to relate this to anything, it's Burberry Her or Givenchy Irresistible, or even a little bit like Sea Fiori, but with a little bit of like a orange, like sparkly, like orange soda in there. I like it. I like it. I was worried when I read that it was going to be a heavenly cocktail of juicy and spicy delights, because I'm pretty aversive to spicy notes. I'm very hypersensitive to spice, and usually don't like spice. But this is not spicy, or if there is any spice, the pink pepper, yeah. I always misinterpret pink pepper as something grapefruity. Like, it's peppery, but it's not in like the black peppercorn way. It's almost like that pithy bitter note that you get from the skin of a grapefruit. So pink pepper, I can tolerate pink pepper a lot better than I can tolerate like black pepper. So yeah, this is really nice so far, and I'm excited to smell the Drydown of this, and yes, definitely leaning more feminine so far. Pacific RockMoss, aquatic and iconic. Seize the day and experience a moment of pure bliss in this invigorating perfume. A distinctive marine note graced with aromatic essences brings you on a lush coastal walk on a beautiful summer day. The sunrise, marine, vibrant, citrusy. The sunset, woody, musky, distinct. The notes are Australian coastal moss, lemon Italy, sage, geranium, and cedarwood, Virginia. So like Virginian cedarwood, Italian lemon. I don't know. They're doing a little bit of like the adjective coming after the noun thing, like Yoda. And I have a feeling it's going to smell a little bit like Windex. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling. Smells a little bit like Windex. How'd I know? Whenever I hear marine, I imagine a little bit of salt. You know, like, I feel like if you're going to be hanging out with the ocean, there should be a little bit of sea salt in there. I feel like this could be really, really good with a hint of salt or like a hint of seaweed, something briny. But instead it's very cleanery. It's very Windexy. I do smell the lemon, and like as much as I don't like too much citrus, again, I almost wish there were more to like sour it up, to give it another layer, because right now it's just like aromatic, fresh water. It's reminding me of like a blue cologne. It just needs something. It just needs a little more depth. This would smell very good on my husband. My husband has the type of body chemistry that this would smell pretty good on, but on paper, it's just like kind of soapy, detergent-y. If it does dry down more woody and musky, I am looking forward to that, but so we'll come back to that. Next up, Desert Rosewood. Licorice, not licorice, licorice, and ambery. The perfume presents a rich amber and woody fragrance that evokes thick, arid, deep forests. A heady rush of resinous Australian desert rosewood reveals a sweetness of mandarin and vanilla before finally settling into an exotic blend of wood and spices. The sunrise, spicy, fresh, solar. The sunset, gourmand, oriental, elegant. Notes of mandarin, cardamom, Buddha wood Australia, like Australian Buddha wood? Again, they're doing like the adjective after the noun. Benzoin, vanilla, and amber. Okay. I feel like I could go 50-50 with this because I do like ambers, I do like vanillas, I do like things that have a little bit of the gourmand, but the cardamom and the mandarin has me a little bit worried because cardamom is a spice that I can be aversive to, and mandarin, like all citrus notes, I don't know how it will vibe. Okay, so I'm getting the cardamom. It is almost giving me like a gingery, cinnamony, clovey feeling, which I don't like. But again, that's just me being very sensitive to it. It is spicy and fresh and sunny at the same time. Usually when I smell spices, it makes me think of like cough syrup. It's always like a dark, syrupy, sick feeling when I smell spices, but this is like a fresh spicy, a bright spicy, a woody spicy. It kind of smells like you walked into a health food store, like a hippie health food store with like a lot of incense and herbs and like essential oils and stuff like that. Something about the mix of these notes is reminding me a little bit of like eucalyptus, so there is a little bit of like the Vicks Vapor Rub feeling in there. Other than that, I don't have much of an opinion, but if this can somehow manage to dry down smelling gourmand, that would be really cool, because as it is now, I cannot picture this turning into something vanilla-y or gourmand, but like, I'm excited to check back in a couple of hours and see if it has changed at all. And I would say this one is true gender neutral. Like, I could see either gender wearing this, but the fact that it is a little bit spicy makes me think of somebody more mature. So, like, you know, somebody adult, you know, an older person. It's not like grandma vibes, but it could be. Basically, I'm 32 years old, and I feel like I would not wear this unless I was trying to give the impression that I am serious about something. I'm generally not serious about most things. So if you're a very serious 30-year-old, other than that, I would say ages 38 and up. This strikes me as like a 40+ fragrance, unless you're just like a little grumpy librarian. Southern Bloom. Before I even really knew about Goldfield and Banks, I remember I was looking around the Twisted Lily website, and it was like, oh, you can pick a fragrance based on like a mood, and you can select things like, ooh, dark, mysterious, blah, blah, blah. And one of the suggestions that came up for me was Southern Bloom, and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. I think I want that. And I didn't even realize that that was part of this, you know, thing that I got. So I was like, oh, wow. And the notes look intriguing to me. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be good. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be my favorite, but the notes are intriguing. So, Southern Bloom, floral and luxurious. Southern Bloom honors the rare and enchanting native scented flower, the Boronia during its short September spring bloom on Australia's southernmost island, Bruni, off the coast of Tasmania. The absolute of Boronia is distinctive and one of the most expensive perfume oils in the world. Forgive me if I'm butchering the pronunciation of any of these words. The sunrise, floral, creamy, pure. The sunset, exotic, opulent. The notes, Boronia Absolute, Tasmania. So Tasmanian Boronia Absolute. Jasmine, Italian iris, sandalwood, ylang, and coconut. So this could go a lot of ways. You know, on the one hand, I'm expecting something creamy, banana-y, coconutty, with that coconut and ylang, but then I'm also expecting something a little heady and Dalek with the jasmine, but then like the iris is gonna make it kind of powdery, and I have no idea what Boronia smells like. I don't know what to expect. It sounds really interesting, but I don't know what to expect. I have no expectations, other than maybe it will lean feminine because it's floral. Oh, and also fun fact, my living room is purple. The juice of this one is purple. Haha, everything's purple. Great. Ugh. Ooh, I got that in my nose by accident. Did not want that. This does lean feminine, so I guess I was right about that. Got some on my finger. See, it already smells so much different on my skin than it does on paper. So, like, would I have different experiences with this stuff on my skin than on paper? Like, it's so much more complex and, like, deeper on my skin than on this poopy piece of paper. We might need to come back and do a skin test. Yeah, it smells way better on my hand. Anyway, it smells a little soapy, little shampoo-y. It is not as creamy as I thought it would be. I thought this would smell a little bit more tropical, but this really is just kind of like a straight-up floral with a little bit of that powdery iris in there. It does smell clean, it does smell pleasant, it is inoffensive. I would say this is safe. This is very safe. This could be a safe everyday perfume, but I know the big bottles of this run a little pricey, so I don't know if it's necessarily worth it to drop that kind of money on something like this for an everyday perfume. The jasmine in here is bordering a little bit on like the vintage type of jasmine, so it is also reminding me more of like a mature woman, an older woman. This does not smell particularly youthful. Like, it's almost reminding me of a Christmas party, like when I was a little kid and like I was meeting all the older relatives at a Christmas party and they all had like a jasmine perfume. That's not all it is, but that is what I'm reminded of when I smell it. I don't know, with the way that they were talking up this Boronia, like I was expecting more of a wow factor, or I was expecting something like indescribable. I was expecting like, oh wow, like what is that? That's amazing. And I guess I get a little bit more of that on my finger than on the paper. Like, there's almost like a little bit of like a orange, like something warmer, maybe like citrusy, grapefruity, bergamot. Not a lot, but like if I were to look up what Boronia smells like, if it's a slightly citrusy smelling flower, that would make sense because I'm getting more citrus out of my finger than I am on the paper. But yeah, it smells more like a shampoo or like a fancy hand soap. Clean, floral, fresh, inoffensive, safe, mature, and that's it so far. And despite all those things, and maybe it's psychological because like the juice is purple, but it does kind of remind me of like the color purple. Ooh, there's like a soft soap body wash, and even though it's like jasmine and lavender, the bottle is purple. It's like purple jasmine. That's what this smells like. This is like purple jasmine. I kind of wish the coconut would come through a little bit more. I feel like a little creaminess could be very interesting, but as of right now, it's still just like fresh floral, no creaminess yet. But, you know, the Drydown could be different, so we'll come back to that. The next one is White Sandalwood. I already know how this smells. I took a little sneak smell of it when I first got this set because I was looking up reviews on Fragrantica, and White Sandalwood seemed to have the worst reviews. People saying that it smells like disinfectant And I found that to be true. To me, it did just smell like a really strong baby wipe, or like really strong bathroom cleaner with like the tiniest hint of sandalwood in the background. So my husband made the joke that it was like, oh, we're at a beach resort and like the staff just cleaned the bathroom. Like they really went ham cleaning the bathroom because the previous guest like got really sick in the bathroom before they checked out. So it's like a really, really cleanery, disinfectant-y, bleachy, ammonia-y bathroom with the tiniest hint of like sandy sandalwood. That's a big lightning. Sandy sandalwood beach air in the background. I did not like it, but it was also not as egregious as the reviews led me to believe it would be. Now, weirdly on the paper, it smells a little hint more like salty on the paper than it did on the back of my hand. On the back of my hand, it was like soapy, ammonia-y, aldehyde-y, sandalwood. But on the paper, I'm getting this weird little hint of like saltiness, and that could be, oh, I didn't read the description for you. White sandalwood, spicy and musky. A distinctive scent that is at once both exotic and richly enveloping. White sandalwood and amber provide a comforting base, while saffron, pepper, and thyme cast an exotic heat, tempered by the heart of sweet Turkish rose. The sunrise opening soft, delicate, and bright. Sunset enveloping, powdery, sophisticated. The notes are Australian sandalwood, Moroccan thyme, Turkish rose, and saffron. So something about this being on paper, I am smelling more of the herbs. I'm smelling more of the saffron, the thyme, and the pepper. It's almost reminding me of focaccia. My husband has been into baking recently and making his own bread and dough and stuff like that, and he made focaccia, but he went a little too overboard with the herbs, like too much sage, too much rosemary, so something about this is almost reminding me of when he made that focaccia and he put way too many herbs on it. So on my skin, this was more of a baby wipey, aloe-y, cleanery smell, and on the paper, it's somehow a little bit more saffron-y, dry, a little more salty. I kind of like it more on the paper than on the back of my hand. But it's weird. You know, you would not expect someone to smell like this. You would not necessarily want to smell like this unless something amazing happens in the Drydown that makes this way better. I don't see how this is good. Again, it's not as egregious as the reviews would lead me to believe. You know, like, it's not vomit-inducing. I'm not throwing up. I'm not wrinkling my nose and running away from it like I do with other fragrances. But it's just weird. It's weird. If you're a weird person, if you're like a weird hippie surfer beach dude, like, maybe this would work for you, but like, I don't know. I would not wear it. Velvet Splendour. I think I'm the most excited about this one, just by reading the notes. I could be disappointed, I hope not. This is supposedly like a yellow floral, and recently I've been very into yellow florals like narcissus and daffodil, so like I'm hoping this has a little bit of that like indolic headiness, but also like creamy and kind of like a fleshy, creamy white yellow floral. I don't know, I'm just hoping it does something magical. Sensual and enveloping. Velvet Splendour is like holding a large bunch of sunburnt wildflowers in both arms and pressing one's face gently into it. An impressionist's painting of a long drive through an open, breezy, and cloudless countryside. The sunrise is solar and floral, the sunset oriental, powerful, and velvety. The notes are a bunch of flowers that I have never bothered to learn how to pronounce properly yet, so I apologize. Hedione, I don't know. Mimosa, Australian mimosa, orange blossom, jasmine, tonga, and opopanax, or opopanax, potato. No potato, but you know, that floral. Opopanax. Is it a floral or is it a resin? Anyway, here we go. I hope it smells delicious. Please smell delicious. Oh no, I'm so sad. I don't like it. I'm so sad. Why is this so bad? It's got like an anise, clovey, like licorice vibe to it. Soapy, aldehyde-y. I thought I would like this one. Please dry down into something nice. This smells like soapy, aldehyde-y old lady. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to say it. It doesn't even smell like sunburnt flowers. Like, this is supposed to be like solar and sunny, and I'm not smelling a solar note. It actually smells quite cold, like the aldehydes. Like this, I feel like this could almost be a winter perfume, even though none of these are meant to be winter perfumes. I don't think. You know what this smells like? This smells like orange dial soap. The gold dial soap, hand soap. The orange antibacterial dial hand soap. That's what this smells like. If you like dial soap, you'll like this. It's just not what I was expecting after reading the description. Le sad. Sag. Alright, the last one. Blue Cypress. Minty and crisp. A sophisticated fragrance of rich woods and aromatic spices, which is already giving me red flags. It is invigorating and grounding. The cobalt-colored Australian blue cypress provides a fragrant woody base, lifted by a fusion of lively lavender and exotic patchouli, clove, and star anise. Eat! We're treading all those notes that I don't like. Sunrise, clean, misty, zesty. Sunset, aromatic, green. The notes are Australian blue cypress, lavender, patchouli, and star anise. Okay, I don't like anise. But mixed with lavender and like cypress, like I really don't know what to expect here. I know it's probably going to smell very masculine, and I know I'm probably not going to like it. Unless this has been blended in some weird, insane way that will completely disguise the anise or completely balance it out in a way that will not make me wrinkle my nose. I'm not sure, but I'm not expecting good things from this, just based on the notes. Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Wow. Okay, it's not, I don't want to smell like this. It's not feminine. It is masculine, but it is not at all what I was expecting when I read these notes. It does have a little bit of the toothpaste opening, little bit of Listerine, but it did say it was going to be minty and crisp. Oh no, sorry, misty and crisp. Misty and crisp. Okay, I mean, yeah, it still has a little bit of that, like, the kind of minty aftershave, men's aftershave. It is a lot more aquatic than I thought it was. I was looking at the star anise and the patchouli, and I was thinking that this was gonna be, like, dirty, you know, like, dirty, peppery, spicy. It's not. It is not at all. This really does smell misty. It really smells aquatic. This smells like fresh mountain air. This smells like you're at the top of a cold mountain. Little hint of lavender. This is the type of lavender that instead of being a creamy lavender, it borders on like a lemon balm note. And I usually don't like lavender that borders on the citrusy side. I usually like creamy lavenders, like the kind of lavender that's in like Replica Coffee Break. Yeah, it's it's really not bad at all. And yes, this is masculine, but I do think the right woman could pull it off in the way that like Miu Miu Le Bleu kind of smells peppery and woody and fresh, but it can be like a fun surprise to smell it on a woman, even though you would think it's kind of like a somewhat masculine smell. This is still like, you know, you're gonna smell this and think like, oh, daddy's home. Like, you know, dad with the aftershave or the cologne or whatever. Like, you're gonna smell this and be like, man. But also woman. Maybe. Unisex that leans male. But like, it's, wow, this one really surprised me. I actually really like it. I really like it. I don't know if I really like it because it's really good or if I just really like it because my expectations were so low. But this really does smell like cool and crisp. You know, they talk about aromatic spices, and I'm so worried that, like, with the spices and the clove and the anise and the patchouli, like, I'm expecting this to smell so dirty, so dark, so peppery, but It's not. It's really fresh. It's really bright. It's almost aquatic. It's almost ozonic. Ozony. This is almost more what I would expect Pacific RockMoss to smell like. Because it smells like a cold stone with moss. It's like minerally, you know? Like fresh, springy green moss. Like really cold. Like it's... Yeah, wow, okay. So, that's it. We'll come back in a little bit and see if they changed it all. We'll see if the sunset notes come out, if they've changed. So, be back in an hour, or two, or several. And we're back. I can already tell you that from far away, I am still smelling that weird salty smell from the white sandalwood. And I am still smelling, without even putting my nose up to the paper, I am still smelling that, like, really strong oud, like, pissy, wet wood, like, pinchy up in the sinuses of the, wood infusion. So I don't think that dried down any less barnyardy, but here we go. From left to right again. Revisiting. Wood infusion. Still smells like pee and poop and wood. If anything, it's even like more sinus puckering, like even more sour than the opening. So like not much has changed. If anything, it got stronger. If that's your jam, like if you're really into that stuff, you'll love it. But it's a bit much for me. Bohemian Lime. It has the same base note as Wood Infusion. This smells more fecally, more pissy, more wet woody than when it first opened. Still a little bit of peppery dirtiness, still a little bit of lime, but it's mostly that like pissy. And it's weird because I don't consider cedarwood to be like a pissy smelling wood. But both Wood Infusion and Bohemian Lime feature a little bit of wood, and it's just like too pissy for me. Sunset Hour. It's gotten a little sweeter. It's gotten a little more fluffy, more sugary. It's still really good though, and it is still reminding me of Burberry Herd, Givenchy, Irresistible, things in that vein. You could say it's pulling a little bit of like Baccarat Rouge 540, a less coconutty version of Ariana Grande Cloud. It's in that same vein, like fruity, almost cotton candy-y. Pacific RockMoss. This has somehow become a little bit more aromatic, a little bit more like almost piney. Like even though it's supposed to smell like the Pacific Ocean, I'm getting a little bit of a Christmas vibe, like a fresh Christmas vibe. Like it's not minty piney, but it is reminding me of like spruce trees and conifer trees, maybe even like a juniper tree. And it is still very like cologne-y. It is still very like man, a little bit of the, like an oily kind of note that you would smell in an aftershave. Yeah, that is still like masculine, fresh, and like a little bit more citrusy than when we first sprayed it. Desert Rosewood. Still smells like a dirty hippie health food store. A little bit more of the vanilla has come out though. It is the tiniest bit sweeter and warmer and like more cozy than when it first opened. When it first opened, it was very spicy, cool spicy, fresh spicy. Now I would say it's getting into the warmer, like resinous kind of feeling. It said the sunset. The sunset would be gourmand, oriental, and elegant, and I am getting a little bit more of the like, I guess, oriental note. Southern Bloom. This one did turn more creamy. It's a little bit more coconutty, a little bit more of the ylang ylang. It's starting to border on sunblock a little bit. If you like beachy smells, this definitely did turn into like a beachy smell. It's not fruity. It's not like fruity tropical beachy, but it is a little bit more creamy, a little bit more like more sandalwoody, and it has a little hint of that like sunblock vibe now that the coconut and the ylang ylang have come out to play, I guess. White Sandalwood, this was the bad baby wipe one, but the one that I said was starting to kind of remind me of a very herbal focaccia. Yeah, some of that salt has disappeared, and I'm still getting a lot of the like thyme and the saffron, and it's like a little bit peppery. If there is rose in there, it's almost like a salty rose or like a smoky, spicy rose. Whenever I prepare myself to smell rose, I'm searching for the like fleshy, wet, like jammy rose, because to me that's how a rose smells in real life. When I smell a rose in real life, it's like wet, it's fleshy, it's almost like a tomato to me, but sweeter. So it's like I always get so confused when I smell a rose that is like a spicy or a smoky rose or like a leathery rose. I just don't get it. So it's like, is there rose in there? Yeah, but it kind of smells like a rose that started to go bad, like a rose that started to rot a little bit. You ever get a bouquet of roses and you let it sit there and rot? I don't know, in some ways rotten flowers almost remind me of like a baby formula smell. Like it's almost like they curdle, they go rancid. It's reminding me of that. It's like rotten roses. Velvet Splendour, the one that I really thought I would like because of the yellow florals, and then I didn't like it. It still smells like the Gold Dial soap, but it's more mild now. When we first sprayed this and it first opened, I said it was really like mature, I think. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of like an old lady smell," but like it's not. That part has tapered off and now it just smells like clean goldy soapy stuff. And the last one, Blue Cypress, the one that I thought I would hate because it had patchouli and clove and anise and like, spicy things that I thought would assault my senses because I'm very hypersensitive and aversive to spices and peppers and things like that. But I really liked it because it really smelled like crisp, like really really like frozen air. I think now it's less cold. It's less cold and misty and clean, and now it's becoming more like aromatic. Like I think now that the sparkly ozony top notes have faded, I think now I'm getting more of like the green, a little bit more of the lavender and the patchouli now. But it's still very like fresh. This is like fresh aromatic, fresh herbs, reminding me like a little bit of like parsley or cilantro. And I think out of all of them, this one has faded the most. So I would have to guess that this one maybe has the weakest longevity out of all of them. And this was like one of the last ones I sprayed, so you would think that like since this one was sprayed the latest, it would still be lingering around the strongest, but it's not. So this one faded pretty quickly, but it's still nice, like a lot nicer than I thought it would be. I could give them another like hour or two and see if they change any more, but like, I don't know. I have a feeling they're not going to morph as much on paper as they would on skin. And overall, I think when I give this to my mother-in-law, I think she'll definitely like some of them. I think she'll like the feminine leaning ones. She might like the Blue Cypress. She might like the Velvet Splendour. I think overall she's gonna think most of these are weird. I don't think she's really gonna wear these. And I don't think any of these are gonna lead to her purchasing a big bottle. They're kind of expensive anyway. This was more of just like, oh, well, for fun, like just to try something new, try some weird smelling things. So I don't think she's gonna particularly like all of these smells, but I just thought it was like a fun thing to try to experiment with. I hope you enjoyed this fun little weird video, and I will smell you later. Bye!